Numbered Heads Together is a cooperative learning strategy where students are placed in groups of 3 to 5 and each given a number. The teacher provides a prompt or question for the students to answer. Each group then puts their heads together to come up with an answer. The teacher randomly calls on one of the students in each group to ask for their answer. This strategy is effective for students with disabilities and students without disabilities.
Numbered Heads Together works well with a heterogeneous group of students. Everyone in the class benefits from this strategy. It allows for the teacher to actively call on all students regardless of their level of achievement. This happens in a low-risk environment where students can work cooperatively with their peers. Numbered Heads Together requires active participations from all of the students.
In Mahidi's 1991 research, he concludes that more students are on task during a Numbered Heads Together activity than during a whole group traditional hand-raising activity. By having students work together in a group, this strategy ensures that each member knows the answer to problems or questions asked by the teacher. Because no one knows which number will be called, all team members must be prepared.
In addition, Mahidi stated that Numbered Heads Together activates pupils' background knowledge, promotes interest in lessons, challenge the students intellectually with higher order questions, and improve student comprehension of lecture and discussion material.
Research has also shown that low-achieving students are less likely to be called on by their teachers in comparison to higher-achieving students. With fewer opportunities to respond, these students may feel ignored or less capable, which can then negatively affect their motivation and academic performance.
However, Numbered Heads Together provides higher rates of opportunities to respond and provides more chances for students to interact with their peers and with the teacher. Numbered Heads Together also allows for unison responding, meaning that all students, regardless of their level of achievement, have a chance to respond to the question. Since students first work cooperatively and then are called on randomly, all students are expected to be prepared to respond at any time, but are not expected to come up with the answer on their own.
Overall, empirical research shows an increase in academic scores and behavior when using Numbered Heads Together. Numerous studies by Mahidi, Hayden, and Hunter have found an average increase of 2 letter grades when using the Numbered Heads Together strategy instead of the traditional hand-raising strategy. In addition, students favored the Numbered Heads Together strategy in comparison to the hand-raising strategy. Higher scores were found among students with disabilities and students without disabilities.
In a real classroom, this strategy would use multiple groups of 3 to 5 students, but for the purpose of this EBP plan, we will use one group of 5 students. Our classroom demographic consists of 1 general education student who is outspoken and chatty, 1 general education student who is shy and reserved, 1 English language learner who is transitioning and has been in the United States for 2 years, 1 special education student whose primary disability is ADHD, and 1 special education student whose primary disability is a learning disability.
In our lesson, the students in this class have read up to Chapter 5 in Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. In this activity, the students will be discussing and reviewing what they have read so far using the Numbered Heads Together strategy. Okay, everyone, put your phones away. Welcome to English. All right, how's everyone doing? Good. Okay, take out your To Kill a Mockingbird books and your prediction charts. We're going to get started today. We are going to do an activity called Heads Together, and Miss Osborne is going to explain the activity to you guys.
Okay, so last week when each of you received your To Kill a Mockingbird books, we came up with 3 predictions. So in your prediction chart, we wrote down that the book will be about a mockingbird, that we'll learn about a family who lives in Alabama, and we will learn about someone who hides treasure in a tree. So you guys have read the first 5 chapters, so today we're going to work on using a Heads Together strategy to discuss the first 5 chapters. Has anybody used this kind of a strategy before?
Yeah, so you basically work in groups to answer questions.
And did you like using the strategy?
Yeah, because I like to talk with my classmates before I have to answer.
Perfect, yes. This strategy is great for all of you to collaboratively work together and discuss your answers, and then one of you will be called on to share your answer with the rest of the class. Sound like a plan?
All right, can I have one student raise their hand and re-explain the directions for activity? Thanks, Kyle.
We will work together in a group, and then one of us is going to share our answer, and we all have to talk.
Perfect, thanks so much. All right.
Okay, so before we get started, we'll do an example for you guys. So if I can have 2 students come up here and work with Ms. Dettinger, Julia and Aaron. Okay, so Miss Dettinger will be number 1, Julia, you will be number 2, and Aaron, you will be number 3. So the 3 of you are going to have about 15 seconds to discuss 3 past presidents, and then one of you will share your answer with the rest of the class. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what do you guys think?
George Washington was our first president.
Teddy Roosevelt's my favorite president.
Okay, and I know that Abraham Lincoln was a president, so we have George Washington, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Are we all on the same page? Perfect.
Okay, guys, time's up. We'll pull out a number. Number 2.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Teddy Roosevelt are
Awesome.
all the presidents that we picked.
Those are 3 great presidents. Okay, you guys can sit down, and then we will get started. Okay. So Miss Dettinger is getting the materials ready. Kyle, you will be student number 1. Julia, you will be number 2. Kayleen, number 3. Aaron, number 4. And Allie, you will be student 5.
Okay, so our first question is from Chapter 1 in To Kill a Mockingbird. And you guys can always see the question up on the board up here. Describe your first impressions of Dill. And we also want you to find a quote about Dill that you think is interesting and important, and explain how that quote helps to develop his character. So what were your first impressions of Dill?
Okay, so Dill came from Mississippi, and he was visiting his aunt for the summer. Who else?
He was creative and confident.
I remember that Boo really liked Boo Radley's house, and yeah, he bet Jem that.
Dill really liked the house, right?
Yeah, no, it was Dill. So he had to go bet Jem to see if he could try to get him to come out.
Everyone's participating, remember. He could be stuck up. The first thing he said was, I can read.
Well, maybe he has a big imagination because he likes recreating stories.
All the books he's read had to help him with his imagination. That could be why he's so good at recreating all the stories.
And even in the book, Dill says, let's try to make him come out, which also shows how much he wants to see Boo Radley.
Okay, guys, time's up. So number 3, Kayleen, can you share your discussion?
Sure. We agree that Dill is a boy that's visiting his aunt in Mississippi. And he's in town for the summer visiting his aunt. He is creative, confident, and he can read. We thought that his imagination comes from all of the books he's read. Dill really likes Boo Radley's house. In the book, he said, let's try to make him come out, which proves how interested he is with the house, we think.
Awesome. I can tell you guys had a really deep conversation, a really good conversation, and you picked a great quote to show more about Dill's character. Okay, so we're going to move on to question number 2. Again, the question's up on the board. So in Chapter 2, what do you think of Miss Caroline Fisher as a teacher? Can you find qualities that make her a good or not so good teacher? All right, put your heads together and discuss.
So I noticed that she was not happy that the narrator knew how to read, which is kind of weird because she's a teacher, and usually teachers want us to know how to read.
And right.
Also, she was new in town, so she didn't know about the Cunningham situation. So I don't think she was a very good teacher.
You make sure everyone's participating.
She also hit the narrator with the ruler, which I think makes her a bad teacher too.
Yeah, I think she kind of was a bad teacher because she yelled at the narrator for knowing how to read and write, and she hit her.
Everyone should be paying attention and listening to their group members.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else we want to say to answer the question?
I think it was nice of her to give money to the student who needed lunch. That's a good characteristic of a teacher, I think.
I think she meant it to be nice, but she doesn't really know enough about the students, and maybe that's why it was interpreted weird. Maybe she'll be better as time goes on.
Okay, guys, time's up. Aaron, thank you for taking notes for the group. Much appreciated. Okay, number 5. Ellie, can you share your discussion?
We all agreed that the teacher was kind of bad because she got mad at the narrator for knowing how to read and write, which is the opposite of what a good teacher should want. Also, she used a ruler to hit the narrator, which was also bad. But we thought that maybe she'll get better as time goes on, when she gets to know the students better. For example, if she knew about the Cunningham situation, she would have been different maybe.
Right. Yeah, that was a great answer. I can tell you guys had a great conversation, and I really liked the predictions that you made. We'll have to wait and see if they actually happen. So now we're going to move on and close our activity.
Okay, so can you re-pull out your prediction charts that we used earlier this morning? Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing we did yesterday for the beginning of the book, except for we're going to do it for the next 5 chapters. So does anybody have any predictions that they want to add to our prediction chart? Allie?
I think Miss Caroline will get to know the students better and become a better teacher.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I bet the narrator will end up teaching some of the other kids in her class because she already knows how to read and write.
So good prediction. Mm-hmm.
I hope we meet Boo Radley and find out more about what's inside his house.
That's a great prediction. We will definitely learn more about the Radley family in chapters to come. You guys just have to keep reading.
Okay, and on that note, we're done with this activity for now, but make sure you guys read up to chapter 10 for Friday, and we're going to go through an activity like this again on Friday to review the rest of the chapters, all right? Good job, everyone.